Patrick, before we get underway here, you're on a bit of a journey yourself, aren't you? Obviously, you'd love to be down on the piste fencing and contesting for this final, but you're on a journey to try and qualify for the next Olympic Games.
Of course, aren't we all?
I'm not sure whether I'll make it, but yeah, it's a busy time for you. Pre the Olympic qualification, which starts in April, the end of April. Are you gearing up for that? How's it looking in the Danish camp?
Absolutely. Like we've been actually for the first time ever in my life, I've been making training between Christmas and New Year's. It's like a religious thing that just blew up for me. No, it's not religious, but basically we got a new coach in October, and he's been on a mission impossible to get us to qualify as a team for the 2020 Olympics. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, and there's a lot of things that needed to happen fast. So basically, he's been taking all of us, trying to adapt his style to make us all function very well, and yeah, we're working extremely hard in order to qualify as a team.
Well, good luck to you and that coach, Hugo de Gaal, is that right?
That's absolutely correct. I didn't even tell you.
Done some homework. I have a spy in the Danish camp.
That's great.
Anyway, here we're underway here for the final. Di Veroli of Italy, just 17 years old on your left-hand side, up against Bardenet of France. He's 28 years old, and it's Juan Liendo of Venezuela who is our referee. What do you expect here, Patrick? I know we had a little chat beforehand. A bit of a contrast in styles?
Yeah, so basically Bardenet is extremely classical, and Di Veroli is very Italian. So Di Veroli is very he's doing the movements that his body's kind of has taught him is good. So he's not really like standing like old fencers used to, and Bardenet is on the contrary, fencing straight off from the book. And Bardenet is very direct in fencers and doing direct actions with a few small blades, but always in the movement forward with the arm, and that can be predictable sometimes, especially for fencers who are a little more homemade in their own style and who are used to seeing that.
He has a very flowing attack, Bardenet, but I get what you take about it. You're saying about it being perhaps predictable, and if Di Veroli stays with the patient approach he's taken throughout the day, he could be a big problem for the French fencer.
Yeah, I think right now my favorite would be Di Veroli, because Di Veroli has basically been winning from defense, especially against Kano, and Bardenet's been trying to attack all the time, and I think that suits him very well with somebody trying to put pressure always on him, especially as we said before, that fence like épée is not really an attacking weapon, so when you're a defensive person, it's really great for you.
Well, I can tell you these two have met before on
Oh wow,
senior
I didn't know.
podium, and believe it or not, the score was 15-14.
Oh wow.
Di Veroli took the match between the two of them at the Paris World Cup last year, May last year.
Wow.
So a very close contest.
And here was very fair play by Di Veroli, who actually hit the floor. It was clear, but he actually told the referee, and that's very nice.
Acknowledged it, yeah.
And actually now you can see that Bardenet has been doing his homework. Oh, interesting. So Bardenet went for the foot hit, and apparently he hit the floor if you ask the Italian, but he hit the foot if you ask Bardenet.
Yeah.
So we're going to believe the tip or the foot.
Points given. On Liendo went to have a look at the video, and he and Olivier Baskins, who's on the video for this final, agreed that the touch stood on the foot.
Oh, but the side referee says that it was on the floor. So, but he says, well, you're the main referee, so it's your call.
Final call to Juan Liendo. Score does go up for Bardenet.
Yeah, so as I was saying before, Bardenet has studied a little bit, because Bruev was, mentally a lot more, susceptible to break.
Yeah.
So he was putting a lot more pressure on him, and he saw a lot more actions, and he was more willing to risk, going forward also, because Bruce was not like so much of a defensive fencer as much as an offensive fencer. Whereas Di Veroli is very, defensive, so he's spending a lot more time trying to open him up in order to to get his points, and he's actually taking much more time than I expected from seeing the previous match.
Yeah, he's definitely being patient on his approach and setting hits up. And there you see when he gets the explosion, that flowing nature of the attack, it can be a deadly weapon, but he has to take time to set it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, even though he's leading just by one, I would say Bardenet has a very big advantage because he's been creating the game. You know, he's been imposing where they're fencing the piece, imposing what kind of actions, and you're seeing that VEROLI really trying to do something, but he's getting pushed back every time he tries to do something.
But we saw this with Kano in the semi-final. VEROLI allowing Kano to sort of boss him around a bit at the beginning, but then we saw him come back and put some pressure on, gain the lead, and then go back to his defensive approach again.
That's true, but as you can see now, VEROLI actually wants to go forward, but it's only when Bardenet is allowing him. So you can see that Bardenet is deciding. You know, when he goes back, VEROLI can go forward, and when he goes forward, VEROLI has to go back, otherwise he's going to get hit. And as you saw here, it was a flash from the middle piece, and we haven't seen that from VEROLI at all in the semi-final.
VEROLI having a little think about this one. He's let time run down, and well, if you're in Patrick Jorgensen's camp, you're going to give this one to Bardenet.
Well, right now I would, because he decided to put pressure, which is, you know, fine because that's his game. But VEROLI actually couldn't, you know, he didn't get the lead that he wanted. Yeah, he got the first touch, but then, you know, Bardenet came back, and seeing as he's been creating the game, the whole game, well, VEROLI doesn't really feel super comfortable on his side, so he tries to go forward. But unlike Kano, Bardenet is doing the right thing, is pushing him back. So he's keeping him away from his, you know, side of the piece, and keeping VEROLI in the middle of the piece, where, you know, basically it can go both ways. So Bardenet can decide whether he wants to go back or he can decide whether he wants to go forward. And seeing as he's the one dominating right now, it comes to his advantage.
So there's a bit of containment really going on from the French fencer.
Yeah.
And really, Sandro Cuomo, the Italian coach down there, talking with VEROLI, he's got to find a way around this, and perhaps he's got to start imposing himself a little bit more on this fight. Just having a little look down at the end of the piece. It's actually off the back of the piece, and it's my great pleasure to tell you there's Willi.
Yes.
The German engineer from All-Star.
Everybody's favorite. We all love Willi.
All-Star, of course, the promoters of this live stream and English-speaking commentary. We're just having a little bit of a mop down. Sandro Cuomo there, bringing out his handkerchief to. I think it must have been just a little bit of sweat or something at the end of the piece, perhaps.
I think it was, he was sliding or something, and they wanted. They didn't really want to run any risk. Perhaps also, you know, try to keep a little bit of tempo away.
Yep. Use every tactic you can. You know, the Italians will use the rule book and the extra pages in the back of the rule book to gain any advantage. All well within the rules, of course, I must add.
Well, everything matters. So you can see now, you know, VEROLI is actually trying to push him back, but Bardenet is not moving, and it's very disturbing for him. So that's why he's ending up going, because he thinks, okay, Bardenet is not going to be ready.
Yep, just dancing on the center line, not taking too many risks.
So this is an interesting part. So now you see the intensity went down for both, and this could be VEROLI's chance to come back in the game, because Bardenet, now he stepped it up again. So if Bardenet is losing the intensity, he's losing some of his, you know, dynamics. And if he loses some of his dynamics, then he's not as surprising. I love it. It's like they listen to me.
Yeah. This is why I don't have to say anything. It's perfect. This was a little bit of a poorly set up approach from Bardenet there. Didn't see the explosive nature of that attack we saw earlier on. The step lunge very flowing, but he'd taken his time to set it up. That one seemed to just be a whim and just a decision just to go for it. VEROLI going in as well, perhaps a little bit less prepared than he'd want to be.
Yeah, and that's very shame from VEROLI that and this is where he could be young. You know, this is, I mean, it's so easy to say that he's 17, so blah blah blah. But you know, he just spent a whole minute preparing a touch from his defensive line because Bardenet lost the intensity, and he should just use it again.
Yep.
Because then he would make Bardenet doubt on his strongest weapon, which is his, you know, intensity and attack. And right now you can see that Bardenet is not as inspired as he used to be. His blade is down, so he's trying to invite a lot more, but he's not, you know, trying to be as dangerous as he was before.
A little bit of risk management?
Perhaps, or perhaps he's just losing, you know, the inspiration that he needs in order to make the next point. Again, this was, I would say, luck, because, you know, VEROLI actually made a very nicely timed action, but himself, he wasn't ready for it.
Yep.
So basically they both missed, but then Bardenet just had the advantage of hitting first.
Yeah, quicker on the reactions there.
Yep.
Juan Liendo, though, having a look at the video here.
So I think he's calling for a core, saying that, you know, we ran into each other first, but this is a net base, so it's not going to be refereed.
Yep, hit stands, so no core. Now, I've got a question for you. Alexandre Bardenet made the final in the Doha Grand Prix in 2016, and he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that experience is playing on his mind now? Would it be a pressure or an inspiration?
I don't even think it counts. Because, yeah, it's true that on the international scene it's his first final, but on the national scene I don't think so. And on the juniors he's been, well, he was catapult champion, I think, or he got a medal at least, I remember that. And so he's been in the game so long, so I don't really think that counts so much for him as much as, you know, any other experience that he's had fencing finals. But I do think his maturity comes into play a lot.
The experience perhaps being of benefit there. Another hit there from VEROLI, hit on the ground, so not given. This time the referee had called halt for the two fencers coming together and basically being unable to wield their weapons safely, so that hit doesn't count either.
And it's funny, this is the third time now that VEROLI is making an action, but, you know, he was not ready, like, with his hand. So he was a little bit late, and that's why he didn't hit. As you can see now, Bardenet's weapon's gone up again, so now he's found his inspiration. That doesn't go for everyone, but it was just so clear now.
It's interesting, isn't it? The last 5 or 6 seconds of this period, Bardenet just stepping up to close it out and take a 2-hit lead into the final stage here. So, you've been calling it, you've been hitting the nail on the head, Patrick. What is Sandro Cuomo going to be saying to Davide Di VEROLI right now?
So Cuomo's going to say that basically he has to put pressure, but he has to spend the time it takes, and he has to not attack from the middle of the piece. So he hasn't gotten a single point from the middle of the piece. He got his point from his side, or he got his point from attacking more on Bardenet's side. So he should, you know, really be careful from the middle side, because that's not where he gets his advantage.
So is this all about preparing then?
You know he's gonna come. You know at some point he's gonna make a lunge to the foot, or he's gonna make a flesh. So use that to your advantage. Either if you want to hit him on the way back and when he's lunging to the foot, or if you want to parry his flesh, you should be ready for that. But you know he's gonna come at some point. And if he doesn't come at some point, you can get all the meters all the way down to his 2 meters, and then you can go straight.
Well, it's going to be interesting, this final 3 minutes here in Heidenheim. At the end of this,
and actually now it's going to be very interesting, because actually Bardenet is going to kind of decide how this match is going to be. So if he's going to be more of a defensive person, you know, I think it's going to let VEROLI a chance to get in. But if he's going to continue putting pressure, then he can actually win it, like, early.
Yeah, but at the end of this, one of them is going to be the 2019 Heidenheim World Cup champion. Bardenet immediately showing his hand, bouncing around on his feet a little bit more than he was in the second half of the second period.
That's true. The intensity went up again, and his blade is up again. So he's going for the kill. He's ready to hit.
And again, not allowing Di VEROLI to pressure. He's tried that hit down to the foot a few times.
And again, middle piece double didn't really give him much, not even information, and there's, you know, not much that he gains from doing actions in the middle of the piece. So if I was Bardenet, I would keep on doing what he does. You know, VEROLI has not passed his meter line yet, and I think he should continue like that. He should try to fence the match.
Well, it looks like he's doing that at the moment, and it's all playing good time for Bardenet with a 3-point lead here. Every second counts, and a yellow card coming out from Juan Liendo for VEROLI. Was that for turning?
Yeah, that was for turning around. So, but although, you know, I'm saying that Bardenet should go forward and put pressure, he should still, you know, be careful, because VEROLI likes to parry. So if he start his action from too close distance, he cannot disengage, which is one of his absolute strengths.
Interestingly, Bardenet going down to the foot a couple of times here. I think that's a lure. I think he's trying to get VEROLI to launch another attack so he can pick it up.
And you saw he only had 1 foot on Bardenet's meter line, start line. Only 1 foot. He never advances more. And as soon as he reached that point, Bardenet was just firing actions at him.
Good stuff from the Frenchman. VEROLI's proved to be a fierce opponent throughout the day, taking out some big names, including world number 6 Max Heinzer on his way to this final. But Bardenet, Patrick Jorgensen, our expert analyst, has said, has done his homework here.
Yep.
And it's paying off.
And he's doing everything that Heinzer didn't do and Kano didn't do. Well, actually, Kano did it, and then he stopped. He's making a lot of actions when VEROLI is coming forward, not letting him come to the 2-meter line.
Keeping him busy has been the order of the day. VEROLI now perhaps rushing a tiny bit when he doesn't really need to. Still the best part of 2 minutes left in this fight. And yes, 6 points is a big lead, but if you take your time, go hit by hit, you can close it off in 2 minutes.
Yep, absolutely. And now VEROLI has no information, no inspiration. He has nothing he can do. All his attacks are missing. There's nothing he can do right now.
He's just not setting them up, is he? He's just not setting them up at all.
No, and he has plenty of time, and that's where you can see perhaps, you know, the youth is playing in, you know, perhaps, you know, he's not been in this situation enough times, because he has to use the time. He has 1 minute and 40 seconds. Heinzer can make 45 touches in this time. So basically, you know, it's not an impossible game at all, but he's just making it so hard for himself, not preparing the touches, not moving Bardenet, not creating any, you know, doubts in Bardenet's mind. He's just giving him a lesson.
But you got to imagine the pressure for. I mean, I know he said 17 and all that. Yeah, he's very, very young, and this is the big one, isn't it? This is the one all men's épées want to win.
Yeah, it's the Wimbledon of épée fencing. So yeah, absolutely, and that's why it hurts even more to be here commentating and not fencing.
Well, next time I hope to be commentating on you rather than with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, 1 away now from the biggest win of his career. The 28-year-old Frenchman, Alexandre Bardenet, is 1 away from the 2019 Heidenheim World Cup gold medal.
And is he going to end by a flesh?
Oh, a 2-phase attack there. And Bardenet is the champion of Heidenheim. But hats off to Davide VEROLI. At 17 years old, he's shown, perhaps for the first time at senior level, that he's here to play. But Alexandre Bardenet in tears on the piste.